How are you? Hey, do you know how lucky you are? You're inside here right now? This is great. Okay, so this is the whole thing here. We got Star Wars weekends, we've got Star Wars celebrities, but we have also got a live simulcast throughout the park so other people can see the show as well. Because you all, the chosen ones, we have it going on at the American Idol Experience on a stage there. We have it on these other trucks throughout, as well as the big diamond vision in front of American Idol, as well as the big main Star Wars event stage. So we're going to make an announcement here, and I'm gonna stand over here and look very proper, and we're going to be, this is live TV, okay? So here's what I need from all of you. I need you all, when I first start, to be nice and quiet. So I can tell everybody out there, get their attention, and startle them when they're walking by with their drinks. Whoa, what's this guy talking all this other thing? And then I'm going to tell them what's going on, and it's about to start. So at the end of it, I'm going to say, "May the Force be with you." And you know what your part is? To cheer. So let's try that. So I'm going to say, "May the Force be with you." Yeah, you guys are good. You got your part down. Now I just need to not mess mine up. So are we excited about this conversation?
James,
Yes.
we are ready to go live.
Ooh, okay.
Need you in places, please?
You guys know your parts? Okay.
All right, studio audience, silence, please. Stand by. I'm going to count you to 5. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello, everybody. It's James Arnold Taylor, your host of Star Wars Weekends. I hope you're having a good time, and I hope that you know that in 10 minutes, a conversation with Mark Hamill will begin. So, here's what you need to do. You need to get yourself to one of those big screens to check this conversation out. It's something you're not going to want to miss. So, you can go to the American Idol Experience stage inside where it's air-conditioned and cool and lovely, and there's a big screen, or outside in the Diamond Vision and watch it there. Plus, you can go to the Star Wars Weekends event stage where the big hat is and check it out from there. But wait, there's more. That's right, 8th Avenue and Streets of America. You can see it on a big screen there as well. So, you want to get over there. You want to see this conversation with Mark Hamill. It's going to be a fantastic time. It's something you don't want to miss. And as the host of Star Wars Weekends, I would be remiss if I didn't say, "May the Force be with you."
Thank you, James.
Thank you. Now when I come back out, be very excited for me, okay? More excited for the other guy, though, huh? Okay, all right. See you soon.
Taylor.
Look good. Even all of you out there, you look good. Oh man, are we having fun? I'm James Arnold Taylor, your host of Star Wars Weekend, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi on the Clone Wars. Anybody watch Clone Wars? Excellent. Hey, make sure you check out all of our other fantastic shows. But right now, I think we should get right to it, don't you? Oh man, are you pumped? Are you ready? I'm asking all of you out there too. Are you all excited? Ladies and gentlemen, Star Wars royalty. I mean, what can I say about this guy? I'm just going to have to say, take a look at this. Ladies and gentlemen,
full. I mean, I know people's vacation time is very, very precious. You could be on Star Tours right now.
That's right.
You could be on Space Mountain. You could be at the Hall of Presidents.
We can all go with you later.
Don't make fun of the Hall of Presidents. Finally, Franklin Pierce is getting the recognition he deserves. I think that's very important.
Come on
All right,
in.
let's
Have a
sit down.
seat.
Let's have a conversation with Mark Hamill.
Let's have
And by conversation, we mean a one-handed monologue.
Yeah, here's how it happens. I'll go, Mark, tell us about, and then you'll just go.
I'll just make up stories
No.
as we go along.
We finally have you here at Star Wars Weekends. We are so grateful for you. And it's such an amazingly busy man, and to take the time to come here, this is great. So
It's a
honestly, thank you.
vacation for me, too. My wife is here, my 3 children are here, I have my mother-in-law, aunts, uncles, nieces, my probation officer. Everybody's here, and you know, Nathan, my oldest son, was born when we were making Empire Strikes Back, so he has a British passport, and it's easier for him to get into the country than it is for me.
Now, you know, let me ask you, have you been working on anything lately?
I was hoping to do this weekend clean shaven. I'm not used to, you know, the facial fur. But there's this little independent low-budget picture, and it's the life story of George Lucas. I'm up for the title role.
So, okay. You know, the thing is, here's the thing about all of that. My opinion, Mark, is when I saw Star Wars the first time, it was magical. It was magical for so many reasons, but one of the reasons is I didn't know everything about it. I went in, and I just was taken up in the magic of all of it. And that's what I am looking forward to about Episode 7, is just having that time where I try to just shut away. So I want to talk to you about your career. I want to talk to you about Star Wars 4, 5, and 6. I want to talk to you about how it all began. So if you don't mind, we're gonna skip over all that because I want to be excited. I know some of you want to be surprised when you see this movie as well, right?
So before we leave that subject matter of keeping secrets, it's not a game. You know, it's not like we're trying to annoy the fans or drum up interest. You know, it's like trying to plan a really big, elaborate surprise party. And you're trying to decide what food you're going to get and who's going to decorate it and, you know, where you're going to have it and so forth. And it's, you know, it's mostly so we can maximize your eventual enjoyment of the picture. And we want you to see it at the movies, not on the internet. And so it's very annoying. There are blue meanies out there. There are blue meanies out there that are going to try and show you every creature, and God knows they'll probably try and leak the script and put it online. So if I were you, I'd do that.
That's right.
Because I've seen, I don't know about you, I've seen trailers where you go, hi, I think I've seen the whole movie. You know, you want some surprises, that's all. Okay,
Well, okay.
We're done with that.
We're done with that. Thank you, though. Thank you so much. Now, let's go back to
And I didn't grow my beard fast enough. I shaved, the last day I shaved was the day after the table read, April 29th.
Yeah.
And
And
so
the
this
table
is
read-
pathetic. This is 6 weeks. I gotta get going, man.
It's a nice Obi-Wan.
All right, so
Let's go back to the beginning of your Star Wars adventure.
Yes, yes.
Okay? Tell us about the audition process for this. Did you even know the name of the movie? How did it all begin for you?
I had a friend, I had just done a series called The Texas Wheelers for Mary Tyler Moore Productions, and it was canceled. I was so depressed about that, and my friend Robert Englund, who was Freddie Krueger's he goes, have you been out for that George Lucas movie? I said, what is it? Because I knew him from American Graffiti. He said, I think it's like Flash Gordon or something. you don't get to see the script, but it's all set in space and everything. And I said, are you up for it? He said, I didn't get it. That's why I'm telling you. So he wouldn't tell me about it until he was sure that he had been Passed over.
Would have been a different movie though, huh?
You know, actors are like
that.
that. Actors are like that. But when I think about it, I think Robert must have been up for the Han Solo character.
I don't know. Yeah. It would
But
have been.
I told my agent, I said, I really want to go out on this thing. And I think we knew it was called, I think they called it The Star Wars. But it was what they call a cattle call, which means the room just filled with actors. And it was twofold. Brian De Palma was seeing people for Carrie, the Stephen King horror film, and George was seeing people for Star Wars.
In the same space.
In the same space. So when you went in at a table was George and Brian. And George never spoke. It was Brian that did all the talking. I didn't know. I thought maybe George was Brian's assistant. You know? Because I didn't know what he looked like.
Yeah.
And basically they just talked to you, you know, where are you from? And I said, well, I'm in the middle of 7 children. My dad was in the Navy. And, you know, we just talked for about 5 minutes. And basically what you're doing is you're showing them, you're either checked on a list of let's see him again, or you're crossed off. Because you don't do any performing or anything. You just talk a little bit. And it's next, next, next.
And how'd you do?
Well, I was told that, you know, Robert said that, and my agent said, one of the characters is a farm boy. So he's probably not really sophisticated. He's probably not all that bright. Not the role I was born to play. You know, he should probably look freshly punched, you know, slightly bewildered. But, you know, so he's trying to go in and be genuine and just be who you are, but you know, you have no idea of what they're looking for. And then months later, maybe 6 weeks later, I got a 6-page scene in the mail. And that was the first time I'd seen any material. And I went in and I did a videotaped screen test with Harrison. And I got really excited because I knew Harrison.
Harrison, who's that?
Harrison Ford, yeah.
Oh, come on.
And I knew him from American Graffiti.
Yeah, he was pretty great. Now look at this. See, I love all these great candid shots. You all look like you're having so much fun.
Right.
You know,
Oh, look at Fire Sale. That was a movie that came out the same summer as us from, Alan Arkin directed that. And I later worked with Alan. He directed me off Broadway in a production of Room Service. And he's still mad at Star Wars because he's convinced that it killed Fire Sale. What are you doing to me? What's the big problem? If Fire Sale had a couple of spaceships in the Broadway. Big hit. Would have been great. No, but so we went in. I read the screen test.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, is this like serious or is it a parody? It seemed to me like it could be like Mel Brooks or something.
Do you remember some of the lines you had?
Here's the thing. Now I've done this before. Bear with me if you've done this before. But there's a line that was in the screen test that's not in the movie. And all these years later, 163 years later, I still remember this line. Because we're in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, and there was no Wookiee. It was just Han Solo, and he was like, hey kid, I did my part. No, I'm just trying to approximate sort of that minimalist, low energy that Harrison has. And we need everything he says, because it's like he's hypnotizing you at the same time he's delivering dialogue. You know, so, you know, we're going back to, you know, so, but anyway, he was saying that we're turning back. And I said, and my character says to him, but we can't turn back. Fear is their greatest defense. I doubt if the actual security there is any greater than it was on Aquila or Celis. And what there is most likely directed towards a large-scale assault. And I went, who talks like this? I mean, you can diagram that sentence.
Yeah.
Let's break it down. Fear is their greatest defense, meaning whatever that, because he says, that's no moon, that's a space station. That's why he wants to turn around. And regarding that space station, I say, but fear is their greatest defense. I doubt if the actual security there is any greater than it was on Aquila or Celis, two made-up names of little asteroids, that I get.
Sure.
And what there is most likely directed towards a large-scale assault. In other words, we're small enough in the Millennium Falcon to slip in because they're looking for big armadas.
Yep.
So, I mean, it made sense when I broke it down, But I remember saying to George, I said, this is like kind of in fun, and he was like, oh, well, let's just do it and we'll talk about it later. Which I later learned from experience, when George says that, it means let's do it now and never talk about it. He doesn't like that. I think one of the reasons he is successful at what he does is he casts people that are so close to what he wants that he doesn't have to go in there and do major, He
gets the natural energy that they have.
Exactly. And so, I mean, I would be like on the Death Star, be saying, wait a second, shouldn't I be picking up on the princess kind of, bantering back and forth with Han Solo? Or shouldn't I notice the robots are making wisecracks and so forth? He goes, no, it's just... And I said another thing, pronunciation. Is it Leia or Leah? Is it Han or Han? Is it Chewbacca or Chewbacca? And he goes, I don't care, just say Leia. And I said, you mean there's no right way to say these names? He goes, well, it's regional.
Yeah. I actually always kind of appreciated that about it, though, because he did that in Clone Wars quite a bit, where we would all say it, and he let us all say it differently because he thought that that's more real.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
I know, because some people say Nevada, people say Nevada. So, it's like, basically it's don't sweat the small stuff.
So now, getting back to all this great chemistry that you guys had, I mean, we do have some great shots. Was it always fun on set? I mean, it's always, from what I see and from what I hear from y'all, it seems like you guys really did have a good time. Look at that. We're going into space.
I can't remember laughing as much on anything.
Really?
As this movie. I mean, it was just wicked fun. I mean, we had to take it seriously. We had to really sell it in terms of like, if you don't believe it, then nobody's going to believe it. Yeah. But just to get it all out of our system, we goof on it when the cameras weren't rolling. And I mean, I was reminded of that because I saw this documentary footage of us making our way back to Millennium Falcon when Alec Guinness gets cut down.
Yeah.
And that's a really traumatic moment for Luke, but like I say, it was like put out on the biggest playground with all, props, your own toy robots and laser. I mean, how could you not have fun?
Yeah.
If you can't have fun doing that, then you're in the wrong movie. And I do remember the swing across. You just had a picture up of Carrie and I was looking forward to that all week long. 2 days, doing the swing across, tomorrow. And we were both in harnesses, the way you would, be harnessed up for Peter Pan.
Sure. So
we were all on wires, and then they had our two harnesses linked together, Carrie and I.
Yeah.
And so we're ready to go. There we are. And what I didn't realize was that they had at least 4 cameras going in my memory, maybe 3. I'm thinking it's 4. And normally in the movies you do it over and over, and you might spend all day doing that. We swung across.
You were that good.
You were just across once, and they go, camera, it's good, camera 2, all right, moving on.
That's it.
Like, what? What a chip!
That's the one.
I said, that is so... So I did a little mini tantrum, and they said, all right, we'll get Carrie unharnessed. If Mark wants to fly, we'll fly him.
So did you get to go again?
So they flew me all around. I was like, really, looking out, look at me,
Now, speaking of all these wonderful people that you've worked with, let's do it. I think it's time for a Star Wars Weekend's double take, don't you think? Yep, let's do it.
It's a Star Wars Weekend's double take. Goodness gracious me.
All right. So, Mark, let's for time's sake, let's talk the cast for a bit. I'm going to give you a name, and you give me a sentence or a word, okay? One sentence or a word per person to sum them up and your time with them, okay? Here we go. First one. Alec Guinness.
Ultimate gentleman and ultimate actor. I just adored Alec. He had a wonderful sense of humor. He loved, of all things, I'd be asking about the Lavender mob or the lady killer. I want to talk about your career. I said, we want to hear about a soap opera and a dog food commercial? I had done nothing that he would have seen. But he loved my lack of 3/10. He loved the fact that he loved American humor.
Yeah.
And I remember one time his wife was sketching a mosque when we were in Tunisia, and this was taboo to the religion there. And a local official realized what she was doing and just, and he grabbed the paper and tore it up. And Lady Guinness was startled, and so was Alec. And he turned to me and he said, "What was that?" I said, "I have no idea, unless it was a local art critic." And see, he loved that because it was unexpected. And you liked it too.
And that was the longest sentence I've ever heard in my life.
Oh!
Okay, next one.
I failed this miserably. So I remember, nice. That's what you're going to get from now on.
No. Here we go. Harrison Ford.
Nice.
Good. Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher.
Very nice.
You can give us more than 2 words. Come on.
Well, as you all know, Carrie is just wickedly funny. I mean, an incredible wit, and you know, her mother is just a legend in cinema history. And
for those of you that don't know, Debbie Reynolds.
Debbie Reynolds.
Sandy Ray, and better than that.
And really a wonderful actress. I don't think she gets the credit she deserves because she sings and dances, you know, and they somehow think that makes her less of an actress. But if you see her in How the West Was Won, or that recent thing where she played Liberace's mother.
Pretty great, yeah.
I mean, I didn't even recognize her.
Yeah.
She was a wonderful actress. She loves to laugh. I love to laugh. Harrison is also very funny. He's very, very witty, and I wish he would do more comedies.
Yeah.
Although K9 the Widowmaker, you know.
If you get some time with him,
That's pretty funny.
in the near future, if you get time with him, maybe you can encourage him to do that.
I can do that.
If you get time with him anytime in the near future, you can encourage him to do some comedies. Yeah. Okay, Irving Kershner.
Brilliant. And really in tune with the mystical aspects of, see, you know, where George really didn't want to talk about things, Kershner was an actor's director. He really loved talking about motivation and backstory, and well, there he is.
There he is, right there. As you say things, it comes out right there.
It's amazing.
Disney magic.
I better not talk about my honeymoon.
I know. We've got a great show for you tonight.
Frank Oz. Frank Oz.
Oh, Frank. Well, I grew up being just so enamored of the Muppets. I mean, even before the Muppet Show, you know, they say, "Hey, Mark, the Muppet Show will be on Ed Sullivan this Sunday," and, you know. So I was a huge, huge, huge fan.
Yeah.
And he couldn't be nicer. Again, he's a wonderful director, as he's shown over the years. But so personable, and that's Wendy.
Yeah.
You know, it was very lonely on this set because they were all underground. I had a little earpiece, much like this one I have on today. And if I turn in a certain direction, I pick up radio waves. So I'd be watching Frank and go, many years have I. And all of a sudden it would go, ooh, Daddy, you're a fool. I go, I'm here the Rolling Stones. Oh, there he is. I said I sort of laughed. You know, right in Yoda's face, didn't I?
You do a pretty good Yoda. I think.
Well, you know what happened is we all started doing Yoda. Everybody, you know, then we'd break for lunch and the boom guy would say, "To the commissary you are going?" So everybody's talking backwards and talking like Yoda. And Frank eventually said, "You know, please," it was posted on the hall board, "please stop doing Yoda because Frank's starting to do your version of his version of his version."
It happens.
So we had to stop that. But you know, they were really forthcoming in terms of letting me put the puppet on. I went up into Stuart Freeborn's workshop when they were whipping up the foam to make Yoda. We went down on Saturdays when we weren't shooting and worked all day with Frank, and I just loved him. I mean, from the minute I set eyes on that Yoda, I said, it just works so totally for me.
Well, here's the thing, and we had one other person that I was going to give a name for, we'll get back to, but your performance with Yoda, I think, is really what made us all believe him and believe in Yoda. It's I mean, so much about Yoda, because it's just the two of you, there was never a doubt that Yoda was alive. I mean, it seemed that the two of you had this special bond, you know? And
I held my breath and kept my fingers crossed because I said, if we get one critic that mentions, even in a positive way, that Hamill works well with puppets, I said, we're dead. And Frank, I mean, that's sort of an insider. I mean, James being an actor himself would understand, but Frank actually said to me, you know,
it's the microphone.
did it do something obscene?
You were scratching it, so they were getting this great
I
sound.
can't get used to this facial fur. But Frank said to me, he said, look, you know, because I said to him, I tried working that puppet. It wasn't easy. I mean, yeah, the mechanical ears and somebody was working the eyes, but in terms of just the way he manipulated the mouth and the way he could make the body sag and tilt the head when he was listening to me, because I would do it in the mirror, and of course, you know, with his decades of experience, it made me really appreciate what he brought to the performance. And I was talking to him one time, I said, you know, thank goodness that because they toyed with the idea of making it a little person in a mask. And George at one point said, how about a monkey with a head on it?
That would have been a different movie.
Seriously, well, you remember a band that they just dressed up an elephant, but he only had to be in a couple of, you know, he didn't have to really carry scenes.
We didn't have to lift an X-wing.
Yeah, and I've worked with some pretty uncouth actors, but never a spider monkey in a mask. That sounds like a recipe for a disaster. Frank actually said to me, and that's one of my fondest and most proud moments, he said, if you didn't believe, no one would have believed. And he credited me much too generously with being a large percentage of how that thing worked. And I don't agree with him because, like I say, I didn't have to pretend to believe. I believed. You know, I just thought he was, from the moment, I mean, even before he was, and by the way, he was always breaking down to the point wherever you see Luke without Yoda, or if you see over Yoda's shoulder onto Luke, it's the dummy Yoda, because they run the main one up to Stewart's office or workshop and work on him. So most of the time, he was a piece of tape on a stick going, I can't be a Jedi. You know, like
right
this.
here.
There you go. But I can. I'm telling you, I can be a Jedi. That's just how he acted on set. And then it's bringing back memories.
Fantastic stuff, though. It really is. Now, do you remember the first scene you shot? Do you remember that?
For the very, of
Of all of them, do you remember?
Yes. The very first shot in the movie is me coming out of that igloo-type dwelling towards to buy the robots, and then I hear Aunt Beru, Luke, and you know, what's so funny was when I went over to that crater and looked down, it was only this deep. When they did the reverse over my shoulder, it was miles away, 50, 100 miles away at a real hotel, and that was the lobby of a hotel.
Yeah.
So that's the magic of movies. You pretend. So as I was walking out of that little igloo house, they said, you walk about 10 feet and then react like someone's calling you. Because Sheila Fraser, who played Aunt Beru, she wasn't even on set that day.
So who called you? Was it George?
No, he didn't like doing that. He didn't like doing that. He says, just walk around, I don't know, like, walk around there and then pretend like Aunt Beru's calling you. Because I knew in the script it was, Luke, Luke. So I started walking around, you know, then you just do it. It's all make-believe. I mean, I've been doing this, like, I'm sure you're the same way. I mean, we used to play Zorro in the backyard, or Robin Hood, or we go see a James Bond movie, and for days after we were going around, I was like, ding, 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 ding. You know, sneaking around corners.
Still weird.
I was a weird kid, you know.
Do that in sessions when we're doing
I
voiceover.
bet you were the same way with voices. I remember the first time I ever saw Dracula.
Yeah.
I want to know who talks like this. Why does he talk like that? You know.
See, now this gets me on. You're actually quite the impressionist. We've done quite a few voiceover shows together.
Right.
I remember you've already done a little Harrison, but there was a show we did where we were doing voice matches. I was doing like Martin Scorsese, and you were doing Harrison Ford.
You know who does great is, I did Stuart Little, and Michael J. Fox didn't do the series. Your Michael J. Fox is spot on.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, wait a second, Doc. Whoa, you need someone.
Close your eyes and you're there.
The way I see it, Marty, if you're going to build a time machine into a car, why don't you do it some style? Thank you.
That's why, if you ever see Comic Book the Movie, I directed this mock documentary at the San Diego Comic Book Convention, and it's filled with voiceover people. I didn't really have the time or the budget to really audition people. I just know the wealth of talent there is in voiceover, and I went, oh, you know, you'd be perfect to play X, Y, or Z, and that's the way we cast it.
It was a lot of fun, and thank you for letting me be in that with you.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun. Let's do a little social media madness. Do you mind taking some questions from Twitter
Not
and
at all.
Instagram and all of those? Can we do a little social media madness here, guys?
And now, social media madness.
Okay. Here's how this worked, Mark. We asked people on Twitter to send us hashtag #AskHamill, and we got flooded with questions, and we've chosen a few. Do you mind answering
Not at
some
all.
of these? Let's okay. So let's go ahead and look at the first one here. Okay, it says, what was your favorite scene to shoot in the trilogy?
Boy, that's so tough. Your favorite scene. One of the scenes I kept looking forward to because I thought it popped when I read the script. In a science fiction or fantasy movie, everybody's waiting for the monster. Now, you saw the Tusken Raiders and the Jawas to a certain extent. But I said, when we walk into that cantina, and it's just nothing but wall-to-wall monsters, that really appealed to me. And so I was really, really looking forward to that one. But I already talked about how much I love the swing across. I love in the trash compactor. I mean, so many of these elements in the movie were right out of the kind of things that I loved when I was a kid. Tarzan in the movies, and swashbuckler pirate movies, cowboy movies, and it just seemed like a dream come true. I mean, I was a kid that read Famous Monsters magazine, built all the Aurora monster kits. So I mean, I was the one that would really I'd go, hey, you guys, our faces are masked on the back of cereal boxes. I can't believe it.
And Harrison would say,
I didn't get in this business. And I said, yeah, we are. I thought you had to be an athlete to become a bubblegum card. Believe me.
You're a Jedi Knight.
I'm not a good athlete, but I made it. I made it onto a bubblegum card. I'm so proud.
More than that. Yeah, you've done pretty good, my friend. Okay, let's look at another one of these here.
All right.
All right, what do we got? Okay, Raymond is asking, while filming the Wampa scenes on Hoth, how long did you actually have to hang upside down?
Oh gosh, it
Curious
was
about that
days
myself.
upon days. What happened was we shot it like 1 or 2 days main unit.
Yeah.
And then Kirshner and everybody moved on, and that became a second unit shot. Gary Kurtz did a day, Robert Watts did a day, I think Norman Reynolds did 2 days.
And they left you hanging the whole time?
Well, that was of course the joke. They go, okay, that's a break for lunch, and everybody would walk off. I'm like, hey, you guys! But it's a wonderful way to lose weight, by the way. Because not only you sort of lose your appetite hanging upside down, but you don't want to disgrace yourself in any manner, shape, or form. So you really eat like oatmeal, and you really watch what you eat. And people would come and lift you halfway, so the blood wouldn't completely rush to your head. But it just went on and on and on and on. And talk about flying. It's the same guy that flew us across when we were with the princess, but he had me in a harness and I was upside down, and that was what we call it styrofoam over there, they call it polystyrene.
Polystyrene.
There you go. And I think his name was Derek. But he had these marks on, because I couldn't see him. He was somewhere behind the set. And he would preset where I was and where to drop me when I got the lightsaber and cut the stalactite down so I wouldn't crush myself. I just had to tap my chin and take the brunt on my shoulders. Well, one day, apparently he'd had a little brandy at lunch. And he mixed up his marks. And after one of the takes where I was down, he started bringing me up. And he didn't stop. I started breaking through the polystyrene. I'm screaming, Derek, stop! Stop! That's enough! And it's snowing, all this polystyrene, and yeah, I guess you had to be there. But,
Speaking of being there,
it was exciting.
We had John Ratzenberger here last week. Anybody?
Yeah. Good flavor, cheers.
And he was in Empire Strikes Back. Now, I don't know if you are aware that he was in a scene with you that was cut out. Have you seen this?
I have not seen
You
it.
just uncovered this. So let's just take a look at this for a second.
Boy.
If you guys have it. Steady, girl. Hey, what's the matter? You smell something?
Welcome to the Okay, rule number 1 out here. Never go out in a blizzard.
You asked me, you said one of the questions might be what was the worst sound in Star Wars?
Oh, well, we'll get to that.
All right, well, that reminds me. Just mention Wampa when we
Yeah,
get
yeah.
there.
Okay, and let's look at another. Let's do another social media
right.
question. Oh, that's sweet. It's not much of a question. It's more so, and I love you. Look at that. That's right. So I hope Laura sees that. All right. Okay, very nice. Okay, and one last one. We have time for one last one. Let's take a look.
Sure.
Could you do a short dialogue between Luke and the Joker, where Joker tells not to put you on the spot or anything. I mean, that's kind of. Well, I've got to get warmed up to finish.
Luke, it's me, the Clown Prince of Crime, and also your father. No, that's not true, that's impossible! Get used to it, kiddo.
There's always dialogue. Paul Dini is a wonderful writer, and Paul Dini wrote some of the best Joker episodes. And all these years later, lines pop into my head like,
Without Batman, crime has no punchline.
which I love. Crime has no punchline like it needs one. He's just wonderful,
Because let's face it, it's the Dark Knight that made me the happy camper I am today. How I agonized over how to thank him for that. Perhaps with a cyanide pie in the face, or an exploding whoopee cushion playfully placed in the Batmobile. That's...
And I have to tell you, my last Joker, I retired after Arkham City. I don't know if you played the game. If you played the game, no spoilers, it doesn't really end well for Joker. And I've been replaced in the role by Troy Baker.
Troy Baker, very talented.
Troy, yeah, he's on, I do this show called Regular Show. It's on Cartoon Network. The Regular Show. Anybody know that? Okay.
Yeah, skips on regular show.
Yeah, you do that very kind of flip, but you're one of the most talented voice actors out there, and we all are always so privileged when you come in. So, your whole second kind of career.
But you know what was great about the voiceover people, because I didn't really get into it until the early 90s. I did something when I was a teenager. I did the animated version of By Tree Mancini in the Larry Hagman role.
Now, Genie, cut that out, you're going right back to the model.
And Julie McWhorter was Jeannie doing an incredible Barbara Eden. And I worked with Larry Hagman, and when I told him that, I said, I can't do you, but I played your part on the cartoon version. Now, that would have been like 72 or 3. Okay. And then I didn't work again in voiceover. By the time I did it again, it was Joker, and I didn't know about voiceover agents.
Oh, really?
Specialized just in that, because I got Jeannie through my theatrical agent. But the reason I'm bringing this up is when I went to do my first voiceover jobs, I knew who Rob Paulson was, I knew who Jeff Bennett was, I knew who Tress MacNeille, Maurice LaMarche.
Now let me explain to them.
Frank
Rob
Welker.
Paulson and Maurice LaMarche are Pinky and the Brain. Anybody know Pinky and the Brain? Rob Paulson Wilson is from the Animaniacs. Well, they're all from the Animaniacs. Trust McNeil. I mean, these are giants in voiceover. Yeah.
I would. First of all, I'm a huge animation fan. I've been all my life, and I would tape these things on Saturday morning. I'd watch with the boys and my daughter as they were growing up. But I would freeze frame on the end credits, and because I wanted to know who played all these characters. Have you ever tried to read end credits without a freeze frame? Oh yeah. And there's like 60 names. You can't see anybody.
Yeah.
So what I think they were flattered that I knew who they were. I mean, I knew who you were before I met you. So
come on. Who am I, Mark? Come on.
But it's true. I still remember seeing that episode of the Walt Disney Show where they showed Clarence Nash doing Donald Duck. It was the first time, maybe 6 or 7, where I thought, oh, wait a minute, yeah. There are actors that go in and voice cartoons.
That's right. And now I'm going to do a shameless plug for my show. And because if you want to know more about that, you can come back and see Obi-Wan Beyond later. But I do.
You should see it.
Hey, honestly though, we really appreciate that you are such a lover of voice acting, but you are a tremendous voice actor. And I thank you. Because the first project we ever worked on, I played the kid version, and you played you did this great, old man. It was just a narration. You were narrating. So we played the same character.
Is that right?
Yeah, this is many, many years ago on an animated film. I think it was called Arrow Troopers.
Arrow Troopers.
It was an Arrow Troopers, yeah. So that was fun. So we played the same role. That was my first time working with you.
Well, I finally, after all those years of being asked, I said, okay, I'll do a Clone Wars. And so I did one episode.
One episode.
Yeah, and they said, don't tweet or don't talk about it or don't mention it. I said, oh, okay. 3 years later, I mean, it's been on, it's gone.
It was on Netflix. It's in season 6, and you are fantastic in it.
Was it never on Cartoon Network?
It was not on Cartoon Network. It is on Netflix. You can see it now. And you played Darth Bane.
Bane, yes, exactly. And the reason I said, when they said, oh, is that him?
That's him.
Because they said, I said, what do you want me to do? I said, I kind of want to make it special, so find something that's fun. And they had me at Darth.
Yeah.
Because I thought, Darth anybody's got to be interesting.
We wanted you on that show for so many years, and it was fantastic that you actually got to play that
Tom
character.
Kane
That particular character. Tom Kane is fantastic.
Right.
Hey, we are looking at doing something here that I love to do. It's time that we take you inside the Akbar studio.
Oh.
It's a trap!
So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to ask you 7 questions. And if you can just give me the answers here, best you can, we'll see what happens. We'll see how much we all learn about you in Star Wars, okay? Question number 1. What is your favorite Star Wars film?
It's like asking who's your favorite child. I love them all for different reasons, but if you really press me, I'd have to say Empire, only because it asks so much more of the audience. It's much more cerebral. It's got elements that are really scary. It doesn't end happily. Yoda's introduced. It's just a much more textured, interesting film. But I can make arguments for Jedi and the original as well.
That's good. That's good. Okay.
I love all my children.
That's right. And we have 2 other days of this, so you can answer differently. So there you go.
Oh yeah, I'll switch answers tomorrow.
What Star Wars sound do you love?
I love any language that you don't understand, whether it's the Jawas, yeah, or the what do they call the Sand People?
Yeah.
There you go. The Ewoks, or R2 is a symphony of emotions, and yet we have no idea what he's saying exactly. And I think that again is engaging your imagination, and you're filling in what he's saying and to 3PO. So
okay.
That's what I love.
And you gave us a little hint here. What Star Wars sound do you not love?
Okay, this is a pet peeve of mine. When I read the script for what happened in the Wampa Cave, I said, well, wait a second. They didn't describe what happens in the film. They said with a swipe of the lightsaber, he makes the creature draw back.
Sure.
I don't even know if they called it a Wampa. A lot of times they wouldn't name these things until they made them into toys. Believe me. We call it the medical droid, and we didn't know until after Kenner got his hands on it that it was IG-88.
Yeah.
So we call it the dustbin robot, the medical droid, the ice creature, whatever it was. And I remember saying to them, I said, well, wait a second, because the camera was here, and all I had to do was this with a lightsaber. And I said, no, wait a minute, guys. This thing's just like a hungry bear. He's not evil. So I'm just like nicking his fur, right? I'm just scaring him a little, just giving him a little sting, like with a fly swatter. They, oh, yeah. Don't worry about it. You know, Luke would, because I said, Luke loves animals. I mean, Arnold loves animals too, and I don't want to do anything that would be cruel or inhumane. Oh, don't worry about it. Cut to me in the theater a year and a half later. Not only do I cut his arm off, he comes down in slow motion, boom, and hits the deck.
Yeah.
So the sound that he makes when I cut his arm off,
Okay.
it's just, I can't, I'm still so...
Okay.
Because they tricked me. I specifically asked, I'm not going to hurt him, right? I'm just going to nick him. Oh, yeah, don't worry about it. Oh, come on.
Okay.
Thanks, that's special effect.
Okay. Question number 4. What is your favorite Star Wars word?
Wookiee.
Excellent. What character besides your own would you have liked to have been?
Oh, you got some time on your hands? When I first read it, I went, I don't know who's playing this Darth Vader guy. And I also thought of the humans. Who wouldn't want to be Han Solo? He's wisecracking, hey, he's mocking the Force. Do you believe in that Force garbage? I mean, he was the modern voice of cynicism, which I think was a great release for the audience. They were able to accept a lot of the more corny elements of the movie because there was a surrogate making fun of everything for them.
Yes.
I think that was very clever. So everybody wanted to be Harrison. I did, I know.
On that note, what character would you not like to be?
Well, Princess Leia is kind of a stretch. I mean, maybe in my slimmer days I could have pulled it off.
Okay, and final question. Mark Hamill, is there anything you would like to say to your fans?
Listen, guys, over the years, we have been just, I mean, I, for sure, have been so moved at the amount of support and affection that you've displayed. It's to the point where I don't even think of you as fans. You're more like family. If you know, I mean that. I really mean that. I don't want to get too sentimental here, you know, because I'll get all choked up, but we are just astonished at the kind of, I call you UPFs, the ultra passionate fans. And if it weren't for you, I mean, we wouldn't be here. They certainly wouldn't be doing episode 7. Like I say, I mean, even to this day, I'm backstage going, is the theater filled? You know, the first thing I saw were 3 empty seats. I was like, oh no. My popularity is taking a nosedive. But really, I can't thank you enough for all the support over the years. And as I said before,